Joelle Epee is a comic book author, comics festival director, and curator. A native of Cameroon, Joelle began her career as a cultural missions officer, then worked as a graphics designer and a copywriter within the MWDDB group. Under her pseudonym Elions, she has authored a comic book series called La Vie d'Eben Duta, with 3 volumes already published. She's also a comics book writer and scriptwriter for magazines and structures in Cameroon, Lebanon, Canada, France, Algeria, the US, Caribbean, Germany, Brazil, and so many more. She has co-curated various temporary comic exhibitions all over the world and is a creator and director of the International Comics Festival of Congo, the Bilili BD Festival. And this is her story. Hey, Joelle.
Hello.
Yeah, you know, when I had you in town, I knew I had to have this conversation with you because I don't know when next I would be able to see you.
Yeah, I believe you on that. It was really a great opportunity for me to be here,
Yeah,
for us to meet,
yeah.
and to have this time together.
Yes. So I'd like us to start this off with your journey.
Mm.
At what point in your life was your first interaction with art?
I think, well, first of all, if I can put it this way, I'm a firstborn, and I don't know about Kenya, but in Cameroon, especially in my tribe, from Douala, they usually want a boy to be the firstborn.
Okay.
So I crack jokes from the very beginning.
Yes.
And my dad and my mom used to say that I was a, you know, those babies that cry a lot.
Yeah.
I was that kind.
Okay.
And one time she took me to, I don't know which, I don't know the house, I cannot recall.
Yeah.
But my cousins there, when I was 4 months, they put me before, is it in front of a TV, and they played animated features. And that's how my family discovered that if they wanted peace,
Yeah,
I had to watch TV, an animated feature on
interesting.
TV.
Yeah.
So I would say that as I was exposed to creative content and drawn creative content at a very early age. And I started reading books and comic books, you know, one thing taking you to the other.
Yeah.
I did my first comic book at the age of 7.
7.
And I created my first book that is trying to understand if there is glue, if you have to sew.
Yeah.
It's sewing, right?
Yes.
I
Just
did
put
it.
it together. Yes.
Yes, I did it myself at the age of 9. So from before 10, I knew that I wanted to do comics.
You said at the age of 9.
Yes.
Had you seen at that particular point, had you met, seen, or heard about somebody within your country, within your reach, that was doing that?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that you're asking me this question because I grew up with mainly Disney characters, Walt Disney.
All right.
So when I was a kid, before 10, I wanted to get married to Walt Disney. I didn't have the age gap issue, you know. To me, as a kid, I thought that if I married a guy, I'll get his talent. So it was a pure material marriage in my head. Then I looked for the guy. Where does he live? What? How is things?
Yeah.
How are things? And when I came across his biography, I discovered that he died in the 60s. And I cried like a widow.
Because I was going to ask you, how did that do to you?
I cried.
Yeah.
I carried the widow, I don't know what,
Pain
for quite some time because I was like, I will never have the talent to draw because the guy who was supposed to give the talent is dead.
Yes.
So the next thing that I did is to look if he had a son because
you're taking this
I
very
was
seriously.
smart, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I cannot marry the dad, but maybe if he has a son, and if I get married to the son, I will get the talent and draw. And he had 2 daughters.
Not a son.
No sons. He didn't have boys.
Yeah.
And that's when it really came to my mind that if I cannot get it from him, I will create it for myself.
At what age are you at this particular point?
It's okay, the widow part was at 6.
Okay.
That's why
Yeah.
later on at 7, I started doing comics on my own.
Okay.
And by the age 9, I started studying books to know how they manufacture the books.
So, did you get support? When you say you started reading books, where were these books coming from? Did you get support from your family?
In Cameroon, there is this description for children that are kept in houses. We call them gate children. And I was that kind of a kid because I was the firstborn, but a girl. So my dad was so afraid of men just seeing that I'm existing. So I had a golden jail, if I can put it that way.
Yeah.
I had so many books, so many comic books.
Yes.
I was registered in libraries to read books.
Yeah.
I had access to animated features, so I had all the environment to create my own world.
Yeah.
At some time, I went to do school in another town in my aunt's place, but the same, I didn't have my siblings. I was all alone most of the time.
Yeah.
So I could talk alone a lot, create conversations, and then write them down.
Yeah. Yeah. So, at what point did you think you're going to take this very seriously? You know, when you're growing up as a child, we tend to change for what you want to be as ideas. Did it stick throughout for you?
Yes, but to my family, it was a nightmare because they were like, first of all, who knows if you ever get married with this temper of yours? You're so stubborn about this drawing issue. You know that comic book artists can make a living out of it. Why are you sticking to these ideas? So my dad was a banker, working in the bank.
Okay.
And my mother was working for the government. So those were profiles that could not really understand this adventurous life that I wanted to get in.
Yes.
So my growing up period was a mix on if I get to pass to the next level in school, they will buy me crayons, pencils, and colors.
Yes.
If I fail, they will put all my drawings to fire. You know, that's how they wanted to motivate me to get to the, I think you call it a, the final exam before university.
All right. At 18, I don't know, in Cameroon, is it 18?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
17 thereabout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so, and you did pass, I'm sure.
I failed the first year because, and that one I think it's really God who intervened because in my plan, I was like, when I get the diploma, my dad want to send me to France, so I'll be very submissive and go to France. And once I reach there, I do my thing. I don't care. I cut ties. I'm free, and I'll be an artist. So I failed that year. And when I asked God, why did I? Why?
Yeah.
We had a deal.
Yes.
I was praying, and so
Yeah.
I had a very funny. I don't know if it's a vision or a dream, but because I can recall the thing, but I don't remember if I was sleeping or not. But I know that I cried a lot
during that time.
And I saw my life having the diploma, going to France, doing what I planned to do, and completely missed the goal. And then I heard something clearly tell me that this is why you failed. You are not mature enough to do that thing that you've settled in your heart.
At that particular
yes,
stage
you are not
your life.
mature enough.
Yeah.
And the next year I got it.
Okay.
And I didn't leave the country. I decided that I wanted to go to a university in my country.
Okay.
And,
what did you study?
I studied in Boya. I don't know if you know in Cameroon. You know the Mount Cameroon, maybe.
Okay.
It's one of the highest in Central Africa.
All right.
Highest active volcano in Central Africa.
Yeah.
And they have a university beneath.
Okay.
It's one of the state university and the only Anglophone of the country. So I wanted to switch because I'm a Francophone.
Yes.
But I wanted to be fluent in both languages
Very important,
and
yes.
to have the the capacity to transfer emotions and to talk and have discussion in English. So I went there, and I thought I was clever because I registered in Faculty of Arts, thinking that I'll be doing, drawings, paintings, and that my dad was not that good in English. He couldn't get it. But when we started the first class, it was Faculty of Art Literature, not Fine Arts.
Was that a shocker for you?
A huge one.
A huge one.
I wanted to move, and my dad said, "No, you've registered, so you need to get out with a degree first."
Yes. And that took 4 years?
4.
4 years. Okay. Yeah.
And it's after that, my dad was like, "Okay, now you can have now that you have a degree, please show me that as a woman in a tough world, you can find a job, and show me that you don't need your family to support you." So I worked for 3 years.
Okay.
I worked in an insurance company.
So you didn't even get to practice the literature that you'd done in school?
No, but all things worked together at the end, because in the Faculty of Arts, I learned a lot of linguistics. I was exposed to English literature, and I was exposed to Anglophone literature, which are two distinct things to me, at least. Because Anglophone literature means it's not obviously people from the UK. It's people who are exposed and who have inherited the language and the way they interacted with the language and their own culture. And 3 years after that, when I was 25, I told my family, I told my dad, "Okay, I've got my degree. I found jobs. I even kept them." And what was really the wake up call is I was working in a library in a French school. I had created a comics club in that school. I was encouraging kids to do comics. Their parents were threatening my life because I was converted so many people, young children,
into a career space that they did not think was viable, right?
And they gave me I don't know how you say it in English. In French, they call it CDI. It's a unlimited contract. When they want to keep you in the company.
Yes. So they kept renewing your contract.
Yes, you're there. It's not something that you have to renew.
Okay. I hear you. I get
it's another contract. They call it in French CDI.
All right.
So they wanted to transfer me from a temporary contract to a definite one. And I was 25. And I said, "Okay, I've already lived a quarter of what I want to be my life. Because one of my dreams is to die at 100 years old. I don't know if I will make it. I'm not the one
Only
who
God
decide.
has, right?
Only God. But I was already 25.
Okay.
So I said, "Okay, I've spent a quarter of this, and I've still not done what I know that I want to do since day one."
You're
of
not
my
happy
life.
in that space at all.
No, I continued to draw. I was still drawing, but in the night time, it wasn't my main activity. So at that point, I told my parents, "Okay, please let me spoil my life." I don't know if in English it's heavy enough. If I do what you want and I miss it, I'll be so miserable and I will hate you. If I do what I want and miss it, I won't blame you. I'll only blame
it is
myself.
your choice that you made.
So please let me spoil my life. And that's how I went to
That must have been very heavy for your parents.
It was a very funny time because to my parents I had shown that I could find jobs and work. And I also had the opportunity to be published in the Belgian magazine Spiro.
Nice. By then.
Yes, in 2006.
Okay.
I was published in Spiro, which is a Belgian magazine, very popular in the French-speaking countries. And I was paid back in the days. One page was 300 euros. So to my dad, he was like, "Wait, look, it's how many pages?" Because if they pay 300 for one page, you did 2 pages. So if you have to do 40, if you have to do 54, maybe you can make a living out of it. Okay, spoil your life. Just go and do it.
That was a switch for him.
Yes, that was the first stage. So I studied graphic arts, comics in Belgium for 3 years.
Okay.
And after that,
which is the dream space to be for any comic artist and writer, right? Belgium.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will always recommend to go to Belgium.
Yeah. How was that experience for you?
I loved it. And it's in Belgium that I had the material to create what became my main collection for the public. You know, it's because of my stay in Belgium. I told one diplomat or Belgium diplomat one day that maybe you obviously know who you are, you people from Belgium, but in this world where everything is so polarized, you know, people want to find who is the good guy, who's the bad guy. If you say something that is incorrect, you're obviously something racist, name it. But in Belgium, I had some of the most honest, naive, and those encounters could be so damageable if I wasn't mature enough to decide that it was not supposed to be offensive, but it was the expression of ignorance. Like, for example, there's this woman that I met in Belgium, and she was like, "Oh, my dear, you're so pretty." And I, "Oh, thank you. Yes, look at you. Your fair skin, so you can see that the road is slippery." She said, like, your fair skin. I said, okay. Your nose is so small. You know, because normally Africans have big noses. I'm like, and then she said, and you don't have the big lips. I said, okay.
Yes.
And the cherry on the cake is like, you have such delicate features. You must have a white ancestor. And when she said that, anyone in 2024 would just call her names. You see? But when she said that, my immediate reaction was, you remember that as far as we can know, the origin of the world, mankind, is in Africa. So you are the one having black blood in your veins, not me having white blood.
Yes.
And that settled the discussion. No conflict, no hard feelings. And it was the primary material that I got. Like, okay, people can be dumb.
Yes.
People can do things that are not appropriate.
Ignorant.
Yes. But nowadays, we don't even allow people not to know.
Yes.
But not everybody know. See?
Yes. So you go to Belgium, you do your 3 years, you come back to Cameroon. How was that for you?
Oh, it was already the plan. I never planned to stay there.
Okay.
I went there for studying.
Yeah.
And when I finished and I got my degree, I came back.
All right.
With what was back in the days my boyfriend, now my husband.
Okay.
So we wanted to go back home. And
So
when
you met
in France.
In France. Are you in France at that particular point, or?
I did not plan to talk about that part, but actually I was getting to France to go and marry someone in South Africa.
So at this particular point, you're not in France? You're not in
Belgium? No.
Okay.
No, because actually I was getting to France because I was supposed to go to Johannesburg to marry someone. And that guy, he just ruined that plan. And finally he became my husband.
Really? Nice. Yes.
So it was something interesting also because for my family, as I said earlier, for my dad, he thought nobody would ever want me, you know. You're too independent, you're too stubborn and resilient, and you're sticking to your dreams as if your life depends on it. Can't you just adjust to your environment? Who will support this kind of a behavior. And you're a black woman.
Yeah.
Which kind of black man would want a woman this stubborn? So those are words I grew up with. So to them, I will only be able to marry a white guy. And those are really I would call it materials.
Yes.
Because that's really the thing, the puzzle pieces that help me create the fictional characters I started working on for my upcoming comics.
Yeah.
And the boyfriend back in the days, he wanted to meet someone who wanted to go back to Africa at large and Cameroon because he was a Cameroonian. So when we met, I was going to marry someone that I loved, but I wanted to be in Cameroon. So it was out of love that I was planning to go to South Africa.
Yes.
And finally, at some point, I realized that I wanted to be happy, not to kill my dreams.
Yeah.
And this thing of getting married and bury your dreams was something that was so strong in me.
Yeah.
It's the life that I don't want to live. But finally, by God's grace, I went to Cameroon with the one who became later on my husband.
Yeah.
And in Cameroon, we were like, we don't know our neighbors. We know Europe.
Yeah.
We know Japan.
Yeah.
We know how to say konnichiwa. But it's today that I know that I can say karibu. You see?
Yeah.
Why is it that I will know more of a faraway land
yes.
and I don't know my neighbors? So we decided that in any opportunity that we have, we'll take it to visit neighboring countries or countries of the continent.
Okay. You mentioned a book that you'd done in Belgium, a comic book that you'd started writing.
Yes.
Was it published there? Did you finally publish it back home in Cameroon? And how was that for you, having come from Belgium, that land of comics and comic books, to Africa, Cameroon, a place that's not really your home, away from home, but of course with the love of your life. And I'm sure you got the support. How different was that for you?
Oh, since I already knew that nobody wanted me to be an artist, so I was prepared when I was going home.
Yes.
But I had better weapons to fight because I had studied comics.
Yes.
And there's another thing that I really disliked when I was young. It's people, foreigners, who will come and say, "Oh, I love your drawings," but you're still an amateur. So you don't understand this. You don't understand how frames work.
Yeah.
You don't understand the dynamics of bubbles. You don't.
Yeah.
But still, your comics are pretty. And I hated it. I wanted to be someone who could scientifically talk about comics. I wanted to be someone who can theorize things, to have academic discussions on comics.
Yes.
That's another thing that drove me to go to school to study it.
Yeah.
So when I came back, well, that lovely boyfriend who became later on the husband, he said, okay, there is Angoulême, the capital of comics. I will give you all my savings
Wow.
to pay for your tickets and for your stay in
Amazing.
France.
Yes.
This story, the raw material that you wrote, I'm sure that at least one publishing house will get
pick it up,
and they will sign it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went to Angoulême.
Yes.
Everybody rejected me because they were like, your character there's nothing exotic about your character. She doesn't wear, African fabric. And back in the days, I was not wearing African attire at all.
Yes.
I was in blue jeans or black jeans, and the reply was, but I grew up without fabric. I cannot start wearing or talking about the story that I didn't live.
Yeah.
They say, okay, yeah, but your character has a smartphone, but I have one. Your character has internet.
You do have access
I
to
grew
internet.
up with internet,
Yeah.
and they were like, no, but we want something. And your character, she didn't go through this exotic migrant life full of ambush and rapist and
all
police.
The negative stories.
All the stereotypes that they have about our
Africa,
color,
yes.
our dreams, our goals in life. So they didn't see any of it in my comic book. My character had a shitty life, but she had her papers. So you could not send her back to her country because she was legally in Europe and she was going through stuff, but not the stuff they wanted to read.
To hear and read about, yes.
You see?
Yes.
My character was like someone of the diaspora. I'm legally here, but I still have issues. It's not the paradise. And I never came to stay. I'm just here for a time.
Yes.
So they said no to it. I went back and I fell into depression for something like a month or so. And that lovely man said one day with a very comforting voice, either you quit drawing for good or you wake up and fight. So I chose the latter.
Yes, yes. Let's talk about that support. And especially from somebody who believed in what you were doing, the people who don't get it. You know, how important is it to have people who believe in you? And sometimes that could lack. Where should people draw their energy and just the zeal to be able to fight?
Yeah, I think at that point it was really important for me to have I am a Christian, so I trust God for so many things, and I've seen so many supernatural stuff that comforted me on the path that I was taking. Like for example, when I wanted to go to Belgium, I knew that it is in Belgium that I will go and not France. But I didn't have family there. And my parents were like, who will, in his sound mind, send you to a country where we don't have family? And it just happened that through a colleague, I got someone who pleaded for me, who hosted me in Belgium, found a place for me to stay for 3 years.
Wow.
It was really not, it wasn't that easy, and nobody would have imagined that scenario. You see?
Yes.
So that part I had it, but at some point it was important to have a living, touching person. That's the next step, is a touching person that could also speak words of encouragement that I could hold on to and continue to create. And the fact that this man was in my life at that period was really crucial for the next step. Because what came on the next step was no publishing house in Europe wants to publish you. One said, create a Facebook page and you will see if people love what you do. I created a Facebook page and I got 10,000 followers. Well, back in the days, they call it fans. So I had 10,000 fans, but I was still expecting a publishing house to validate me.
Were you printing at this particular point, or were you waiting to get the orders and then?
I was still waiting for Prince Charming, the publisher.
Yes.
And it's in one festival, and that's the reason why you always hear me say festivals are crucial and vital. And I'm really glad to have this conversation with you, because I also know that you are a representative of the Naiccon, which I've been following for years. So it's the Bilili BD Festival director who told me back in the days, you have 10,000 people who are following you faithfully online. You can ask €1 to each of them and you have 10,000 euros. You don't need the Prince Charming. You are the Prince Charming.
You have it in you.
You have it.
Yes.
And if you find the 10,000 euros, I can help you now connect with the crowdfunding platform. Those were new terms. It was in 2011, 2012.
It wasn't as popular as it is right now.
No.
Yeah.
And nobody did it for comics back in the days. They were doing it for music.
And charity work. Yes.
So it was like, you can do crowdfunding for your work. And I said, but I would never have the courage to do that. He said, no, you will. You are your own Prince Charming. And you have a crowd following you. So just trust it. Trust your work. And I did the crowdfunding. And not the 10,000 followed me, but in that crowd, 400 gave me 15,000. So it's even more than what I expected.
Yes, what you're targeting. Yeah.
Just 400. So I could print, self-publish my comic book. I did 3,000 copies
Yes.
back in the days.
Yeah.
And the sales sponsored and published the second volume.
Yeah.
The sales published the third volume.
Yes. Yes.
And what happened is, it's the fans, the followers,
Yeah.
that were at times organizing signatures in their countries.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Cameroonian.
Yes.
I have a Cameroonian passport, so it's not that easy for me to travel. You have to ask visas in many countries. Here I got the ETA,
Yes.
but you know, in many countries you need to
You still
ask
have
for
to, yes.
to ask for a visa.
Yeah.
But the followers were organizing themselves
Amazing.
to make it easy for me to get the visa.
Yeah.
The accommodation was at home, so I would just have someone say, please, can you come to my place?
Yeah.
Where is your place? Here. Okay, I can organize myself.
Yeah.
And my husband was like, do you know that psychopaths exist? Why are you trusting people like that?
Yes, easily.
I'm like, people who read comics are good people.
Yes, yes.
And I'm still
And
alive.
crazy as well. And crazy as well.
Yeah, but it's all in the head. It's all in the head. I'm still alive.
Thank God.
It worked.
God. Yes. Yeah. So where did your break come? At what point did you have your breakthrough?
Oh, then.
Yes. At
Then.
that particular point?
Yes.
Okay.
Because what the crowdfunding did is, those who could not give the money shared it so much. I was in so many magazines.
Nice.
I was invited to Le Monde. I was invited to TV shows.
Yeah.
I was popular in my own country. I went to Canada. I went to Guadeloupe. And to me, going through, not through, but
Yes.
beside the Bermuda Triangle, you know,
Okay.
I was like, we will die, we will die. Then I reached
Yeah,
Guadeloupe
pulled down.
and yeah, we will be pulled down.
Yes.
And my dad called me when I was in the Caribbean islands in Guadeloupe,
Yeah.
before I was invited on the national television there, Guadeloupe Premiere.
Yeah.
And he called me and he said, as a banker,
Yeah.
my money took me to places, but you, with your drawings, you went further. I've never even dreamed or imagined
Yeah.
that I could go in the places you are going
Yes.
with your drawings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's say that for now, just pour your life
Yes.
as deeply
As
as
you
you
want.
want.
Yes.
You have my full blessing,
Yeah.
my everything.
What has that done? And what did that do to the community around you? To the young girls, the young boys that possibly were very in love with art as well, but did not have the voice to come out and say, I'd like to get into this space. What did that do to that community particularly?
It was, is it a bombshell? I don't know how, is bombshell is the
Bombshell
word?
is just, you know, yes.
Yeah, because it is then, since the crowdfunding is public, so everybody sees when the money is getting in.
Yes.
And the money was coming from so many countries. Each time I would get a new country, I will show the flag.
Yes.
So I had money from Bolivia, I had money from Muslim countries, Korea, Japan. The money was, those were exotic places for me, you know. Usually the normal French, European countries, and US, I knew them already,
Yes.
but they
But
were
now this,
places that Brazil, like, but you don't get the words.
Yes.
You know, I will use Google Translate to talk to them, and they will use Google Translate
to talk,
say,
to respond to you.
say, yeah, but your character are so expressive that we get the jokes.
Yes.
You see? And what happened is, I got messages from people all over the continent saying, you know, I grew up thinking that I needed to go to get out of my country to exist. But you're showing me that I can stay and still exist.
Yes.
So thanks for existing. Thanks for showing that it is possible.
Yes.
And after that, crowdfunding became a thing for comic book artists also
to try and get money for
to
their
try
for their
and
work.
get, if the publishers are not interested, at least they would try.
Yes. Going back to what you were doing previously, there's the characters that you had created and the stories that you had put together. Now seeing the world appreciating your work, did that change the trajectory for which you are writing? Did you try and change your style and your way of writing? For who are you writing? for at this particular point?
When I started writing the Diary of Eben Duta, I
the
think
name again?
the Diary of Eben Duta. I didn't say Ebony because, you know, in the Francophone era, when you type Ebony in Google, it's censored things that happened. I said, no, I will keep the French pronunciation of her name so that she won't be mixed with mature content that I can't endorse or what. So she's Eben Duta. Duta means drawings in my mother tongue.
We have Anduta here as well from one of the communities, but it doesn't mean drawing.
Oh, what does it mean?
I'm not quite sure. Duta. I do not know.
Is it D-U-T?
It's N-D-U-T-A.
Okay, yes. N-D-U-T-A in Lingala. That's what I discovered
later.
It means you know, the scars that you have when you give birth to a child.
Yes.
You have black scars on the skin.
Okay.
That's Duta
Just
in their language.
Duta means it's what? Just a but you don't know the meaning of it. Okay. He's from that community.
Okay, so to me it's D-U-T-A and it means drawings.
Okay.
And I wanted to do a black character and to use a name that could sound Japanese, kind of like consonant, vowel, and Duta was the name.
Yeah.
And when I created the character, I was so full of, it's not really frustration, the word, but it's not the word for frustration, but I had complexes. I wasn't like this back in the days. I didn't have this. I didn't do surgery.
Yes.
It's the Bantu body.
Yes.
At some point in time, all the things that you've eaten
shows. Just come and pops. Yes.
But back in the days, I was a toothstick, so I was so thin, and I wanted to have, you know, curves, and I didn't have it. And my friends were like, nobody will even want you, you know, you're too thin. Who will want to give me? There's it's just skin.
Nothing to touch.
Where is the flesh? Where is this? Where is the flesh?
But people love different things. It's not everybody that wants.
In my environment, the frustration was real.
Yes.
So when I created her, she was the expression of all the things that I could hear.
Yeah.
But I knew that there were so many other people that could experience the same thing. But because they were fair skin, you know, the discussion about colors and colorization in our communities, they'll say, oh, you're already fair, so you don't have issues, you see. And I wanted to tell the story of someone from whom you think that she has a model's body, she can do modeling, she's fair skinned. What is her problem? She can't have problem. Of course she has. And at the same time, there were a lot of people committing suicide around the environment I was in Belgium, and they were very young. And that really impacted the way I wrote, because I wanted to do a comedy cartoons with layers of dramatic undertone, like taking someone who feels lonely to be connected to the fact that, you know, everybody has a shitty life, but you don't have to quit the game because you don't know how the game will end. And when I created Eben Duta, the impact on what I would call the black community, because she had an impact on many communities. As I said, she has a shitty life. That thing doesn't have a gender or a skin, you know. Everybody aspires to something, and we are not always meeting the goals that we have set in our lives.
Where are you drawing the inspirations for all the stories that you're putting together at this particular point?
I was a very unlucky person. So I had a lot of material. I had a
from
lot.
Experience.
To me, I was like, okay, I'm sure that God does stand-up comedy, and at times when he's tired, he switches on my life and he laughs a lot because of the things I was going through. And those are the kind of way of thinking that I built to cope with situations I will go through, and decide to laugh at the situation rather than be depressed by them. And when you ask about how did the reaction, how did the character even affect me? The thing is, I grew up, your hair seemed relaxed.
It is.
My hair were relaxed, but not by my choice when I was a kid. But my character, her hair is natural.
Yes. Full afro.
But I didn't know that afro texture.
Yes.
So I didn't know if it's 4C or 2 or 1C. I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
And at one point, I was invited in Senegal. I had a huge community there. And I had these braids, this protective style, because now they are full natural. But back in the days, my hair were relaxed and I had this protective. So I had people coming to me, telling me how my characters give them the courage to chop off their hair and let it grow natural.
Okay.
But I was relaxed. But I didn't know because I had the braids.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, maybe I should work on my own hair and be coherent so that when they have this impact through my fictional character, they can have a double impact with me having
as
natural.
an individual.
And that's how I came back to natural.
Okay.
So that's the dynamics.
Yes.
And at some point, the spotlight was nice. The ego shower was great.
Yeah.
But I had new issues like, if I die today, what is it that I will leave? If I die, if I change completely my career, what is it that I can bring to the earth except from being an artist? How can I help all those people who sent messages? How can I help them to get a part of the spotlight? How can I work on building bridges?
Was that the inspiration to
the festival? Yes.
And I want us to talk about that right now. You are in Cameroon.
Yeah.
You're just about to create something amazing in Congo.
Yeah.
How was that?
Actually, as I said, with my husband, we were looking for opportunities to discover new territories.
Yeah.
And he had the opportunity to go to Congo.
Okay.
And I followed him. And since I've had the opportunity to work with French institutes from a very young age, I went to the French Institute in Congo.
Okay.
And they were like, we want to create a festival, but we are not finding someone who can carry the load.
Had you done anything before this in terms of a festival?
No.
Back at home in Cameroon?
No. In Cameroon, they have a festival.
Yeah.
And I had worked with them for 2 years, but I wasn't that in the front. I was learning.
Yes.
And I told them, okay, they have this desire in Congo. I saw how it is done.
Yeah.
I want to do it.
Yeah.
Can we work on, getting Cameroonian to come to Congo?
Yeah.
Having Congolese to go to Cameroon? Just changing the country would change the dynamics even of the creative process, because everybody will have this encouragement that we are looking for as artists. This moment that is good for the ego, what I call the ego shower, that shows you that, okay, there are people who really love your work and really want you to continue. If you change the environment, you can find people like that and then come back to your environment and fight. And that's how I created Bilili BD Festival. And
how long has it been since you created it?
This year is the 9th.
The 9th year.
We started with 200 visitors.
Okay.
To me, it was such a huge number.
That is huge.
Back in
and
the
that
day.
Is outside of Congo.
That is in Congo itself.
The visitors, the 200 people that are coming in.
200, they were coming from Brazzaville. In Brazzaville, they love music and what they call sapology. It is the art of wearing expensive clothes. So their focus was, but they didn't have focus on comics. So having 200 people using their time to come and see what I was creating, to me, I had no family members to say that, okay, the numbers are fake.
Yes.
You see?
You send people
and last year, is it or in 2022, we crossed the 10,000 visitors line, which is huge. Not counting even the online, the streaming, because we do streaming, live streaming.
Okay.
And we created, in these 8 years or so, we started with 3 artists, 3 or 5, to more than 30 now.
Wow.
No publishing house, specifically on comics, none, to now up to 10.
Wow.
So it's a real, and people paying
to come.
Their flying ticket to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They believe in what you're doing.
Yeah. So those are things that encourage a lot.
Yeah.
And now Bilili is at this stage where it is also giving birth to little Bilili babies.
Keeping your art going.
As I told you, I had a wonderful support back in the days, and the person is still supporting and so much so that he's now working. Well, he has always been, but he was really like, the Naruto franchise. So there's Konoha and the Okage, and you have Danzo that you don't know. They are the shadow people. So he used to be a shadow man. He didn't want people to know about him. But now he's taking more space to help me handle all these various projects with the association that we've created with person of goodwill who want to support and carry the load, part of the load, and volunteers also that we have. So it's a balance. I had to pause something to focus on another thing. As an artist concerning the Diary of Eben Duta, I paused production of that specific comic. I still worked as a comic artist on commissions, on projects and various projects. But that's my baby, it's personal, and I post it because it takes a lot of time and focus for me to take what I have deep in me and pour it in the writings. I wanted to focus on the festival, and now we are getting to the 9th year, and the festival is really growing in a very healthy way, if I can put it that way. So I can go back to writing the next episode, the next chapters and volumes of my story. And my husband is really the backbone and the shield at the same time to give me spaces and rooms to and a bubble to continue to create or go back to creation.
What opportunities or platforms have you been able to exhibit or showcase some of your works?
Ooh, my dear. I signed with what they call distributor, a distributor. So he's the one who in the beginning.
I know it. That word. I mean,
everybody got it. So in the beginning, I was like moving around in countries with my suitcase, my luggage, and I will be very, very vigilant on when I have a flying ticket, what is the maximum weight that I can carry, because I know that I will have this number of clothes and this number of books, and that's what I used to do in the beginning, because well, I was creating my parallel circuit. Then at some point I had, the demand was so high, it was interesting, but I could not keep the pace. So I signed with a distributor. I selected my distributor in France because France has so many festivals where you can sell. For example, in Angoulême, I could just go there with a big, suitcase of I don't know how many, 50 whatever books, and you just come back empty. That's how Angoulême works. And after that, for the festival, if you're talking about sustainability, I signed with partners. I have the primary partners, which is the French Institute. Like here, we have the opportunity to be hosted by the Multimedia Library of Alliance Française of Nairobi. I work with the French Institute, and they give me the safe environment to host my event, and I have additional private and public partners. I usually say that as a Cameroonian, so far I've had one president. I've not known more than one, and I'm 40. So I don't always go to the government.
for
support because I'm not used to that. Some countries may have pretty strong and good follow up with the government, but that's not my reality. We are not in conflict, but since I grew up in a resilience, we've talked about my childhood, so I'm not used to asking for help. If there is a room to get help, I will gladly present my project, but I won't naturally go to the government. It took us 7 years for us to meet the government in Congo. It's not because of the Ministry of Culture, no, it's because I really wanted the festival to be rooted
on its own.
Because you need to keep the work no matter if you have partners or not. So you need to know if you have the shoulders strong enough to carry it. If you are mentally mature enough to continue, even if somebody says in the next 5-10 years, finally we can't work together. You need to know if you're able to cope with it. So that's how I've been working so far. And the distributor I work with is so nice, Makassar in France, and he works with Fnac, Cultura, any library. If I have a place, let's say some people in South Korea wanted my comics. So I will tell my distributor and he will see if he has partners who can collect them, the books, so that people from South Korea, depending on the places and the cities, can get it there. So
that's beautiful. And you get your works out there everywhere.
Yes, still being in Africa, I don't have the issues of thinking of still working on bringing
or
the
sending,
book or
flying,
sending,
or shipping your works.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges that you remember, especially starting off? That
Peter betrayed.
Yes.
And even went back to fishing, and then at some point
Ask for forgiveness.
Ask for forgiveness. That's what I learned through the years. People will betray because the human nature is complicated.
Yes.
We don't have the same goals, and those are the things that really kind of broke broke the rhythm back in the days. Because I wanted everybody to be, I thought we were just in the little pony, my little pony world, and everything would just be so wonderful. And but life is tough. Life hits hard. And those are the things that I had to deal with.
Looking at your journey, what are some of the points in your life that you celebrate the most? Is it recognition, awards that you've been able to get, being able to realize the vision out of all these projects that you've been able to put together?
The first thing is when my dad told me that I can spoil my life as deep as I want. That was a big, big moment for me. The second thing is the first day I held my book that I self-published. That was a very emotional moment because I was moving from digitalization to real life, but all by myself. So everything could be possible. And let's say that now it's when coming to a place and working with the people bring forth industry. This is the next step where I felt proud. Like with Bilili BD Festival, having the data that we have now, that in the beginning it was like this, and now there is an ecosystem and people are trying to work together. Now in Congo, they were like, oh, we know that Bilili is in December. Do you mind if we do our own festival in September or October? I'm like, it's okay. It's good for the author. Because they would think that I just want one festival once per year and it's all. No, I'm looking forward to see as many festivals as possible.
Partnerships.
And we work together. If we talk about just supporting is just sharing. If we talk about each other, there's also, this point in time where the Museum of Angoulême, which is the second greatest museum in the world, hosting original pages of authors. It's when the Museum of Angoulême said that they wanted to have a page, original page of my work.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, now I'm immortal.
Yeah.
That feels
That is
good.
huge. That is huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's true that I am at times so focused on things that are remaining that I don't celebrate. I don't take the time to celebrate
Yes, your
enough.
efforts and your
Yes, that was a huge moment because I became immortal.
Yeah.
While being alive. And then in that same direction or environment, I had the opportunity to be accepted for an internship. It was short, but we're still in touch with the Louvre Museum, which is the first museum in the world, Louvre Paris.
Right.
And I got an internship there to learn how to create exhibitions. And it's after that I was like, oh, Joelle, do you want to work on this project? Do you want? And that's how I became a curator on comic books.
Yeah.
It's really as if it was a story that was already told, and I just had to do my part and see how the story unfolds.
Yeah.
One of the last ego shower moment,
Alright.
that is my moment. Let's say that the final product is not yet available because they will do a big announcement for it. We've taken pictures, so I can talk about it, but maybe it's because I'm talking with you that I will try to value it more. But
Yes.
I was invited in the Tokyo Manga Museum recently.
Alright.
And we had discussion about comics in Africa because they told me that I was the first comic book artist that they saw and that they started following in Africa before discovering other comic book artists.
Yeah.
So I was really impressed. They had an exhibition where my comic book was translated into Japanese.
Oh wow.
That was cool.
That is huge.
That was
because
cool.
Of the type of market that is.
That was so cool. I was like,
yes.
Arigato. That was cool. I played mature, but the inner me was shouting. The inner me, and then they did the cherry of the cake. Okay, they asked me to draw a character on a wall where I had so many mangaka that I read when I was young that I knew that I was, and they asked me to draw something on the same wall, and I was like, "Are you sure?" I did a drawing, and they really appreciated it. Then they asked me to do another drawing. That was a little bit bigger than what I did on the wall. And the translator was trying to translate what they were asking. And I did the drawing because I'm used to I usually do a drawing when I do signatures. Because it's like a unique moment and a unique gift. Nobody has the same drawing when they buy my book.
And you do the drawing of the person that you're engaging, or is it just like a
no,
fictional...
it's my character. My character says shitty things. I crack jokes from the moment with the person I'm interacting with, because it's a discussion, and from the discussion I create something with my characters that's very unique and personal to the person who is buying the book. And so the translator was translating that, and you're taking me to memories that I've not even celebrated because the translator himself in Japan, when we met, he almost cried because he had been following me.
Oh wow.
And he fell in love with my work, and he really wanted me to be there. So when we met, he became very emotional. And well, Japanese are very composed. The composure is the second name of many Japanese. But the guy melted. And that moment, I didn't know how to process it, so I cracked many jokes. Because I didn't know how.
Your nature.
That's my nature. When I'm embarrassed, I crack jokes. So when I'm happy, I crack jokes. So the moment was really. It was a very emotional and precious moment. So he tried to translate. So they asked for a drawing. I did a drawing about my characters doing funny things about the manga museum of Kyoto.
Yeah.
And then they took me to a room and I saw some materials.
Okay.
And there was wood, and they said, please, this is really your name, Elian. So they wanted to write it, the how do you call it? The romanji, but you have the kanji and you have the more European way of writing the Japanese name. So they asked me if in English or French, that's how the letters are.
Yes, yes.
So yes, you didn't make a mistake. So they wrote the Japanese version of my name.
Okay.
I was like, okay, that's cool. Then they say, please, we would like to do something because we want to remember you.
All right.
We have this place that we would like you to see, and we would like to have you also in that place. And they took me in a room where they had molded hands of artists with pens.
Yes.
Yeah. And they said, we would like to immortalize, we would like to have your hand in this gallery of hands.
Whose hands are this? Are they artists from across the world?
Yes.
Okay.
Big names also. And some artists, I have their books in my library at home. So I was like, what?
You've been placed in the same league as they
you guys, you want me to just melt completely?
Yes, yes.
Well, what? And we took time to do it. It was an interesting moment, and they asked me to sign.
Yeah, I love that. What do we need to be able to get as Africans to get to a point where we are actually celebrating? You see that moment that you had. What do we need to be able to do as Africans to be able to celebrate our own, to be able to appreciate what is being put out there by our own creatives, to be able to have such opportunities where such something like that is a big deal in Africa? What needs to be done, in your opinion, for us to get there?
I think that the first thing is really to bring the spotlight on our works, and festivals, Comic Cons are essential to that, because we have to fill the gap for a book chain that is not functional. For now, it's not completely functional.
Okay.
And we need to create bridges so that creation from Kenya can be read and seen and known in Senegal, in Morocco, in Angola, that people who are doing Portuguese comics can be read in French or in another language. And slowly, it won't take that long. I'm very positive about that. The moment that I lived in Japan is something that we can have in our various environments in less than 5 years, if we keep on the work of bringing spotlight, multiplying bridges among our countries to connect and to make our treasures known, and not being afraid to collaborate and to try things that may fail or may succeed.
What are some of the projects that you're currently working on?
Let's say the big project of now, apart from working on volume 4 of my comic book, is to create a museum dedicated to comics, because we don't have a museum so far.
We don't have one here in Kenya as well.
In many countries in Africa where I've been, they don't have it. So, and that's another part that is important, because that's where you will archive our memory, archive the things that were done in the 90s or the 80s and the 70s. We are what we may call young countries compared to Japan. Japan has something like 10,000, at least 1,000 of history, 1,000 years of history, at least. France had centuries to behead their kings and say that now we are moving to democracy. We have less than a century as countries. So we're still young compared to those countries that are on the same table as ours in international convention or gathering. So we should not be ashamed of what they are doing or the level they are. But we really should be focused on the fact that we are doing even faster than what they thought we will be doing at this stage. So we need to be confident, to trust the future, to collaborate. And the museum is a place that I'm really working on with La Cité de la BD of Angoulême, the Belgium Center of Comics, and now we're working also with the Kyoto Museum of Manga, and the Komakon, that is the structure that holds manhwa in Korea. So I have many partners who have museums and who are trying to
Help
transfer,
you.
so that that place, that platform for the memory, the valorization, and the promotion of what we do will come to life.
And the collection will be from across Africa, or do you want to do it for just West Africa?
Oh no, it's across. That's the reason why coming here is such a great opportunity for me.
Beautiful.
And that's why I'm happy. I was in the University of Boya doing English and French.
You
See?
can communicate.
I can talk.
Yes.
And who knows, in the next 5 years, I may talk Swahili. Who knows?
Who knows? Yes.
So no, it's really for the continent.
Wonderful.
You know, we have so much work to do that at times I cannot blame you as for example, the Naiccon, not to be working on that field. You know, we have so many gaps to fill. And for me, I was already engaged in that kind of behavior, in attitude of working on things that we can remember, that can have spotlight. So, and having the connection that I have a museum for our global African graphic memory. Let's see.
No, that's amazing. I think what you're doing. Maybe as you close off, what are some of the aspirations that you have? Where do you see Bilili? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years from now?
Oh, in the next 5 to 10 years, I really hope that the museum will be opened.
What time frames are you working
in the next 5 years for the museum?
For the museum, okay.
For the museum is in the next 5 years. That it will be open and available physically for those who can make it, because researchers, we have historians who are working on comics and that they could make the journey to Congo.
Is it going to be a physical one?
I'm working on both, the physical and the digital one. So I really want it to be a real thing in the next 5 years.
In where?
Oh, in Congo, Brazzaville.
Okay.
Congo, Brazzaville, because it's in kind of Central Africa.
All right.
So even for the flight and the hub and the connections, it's easier, even in the mind. Let's say starting from the mind, for people to think we're going to the center rather than go to the far west in Guinea or maybe the far east, where someone for Senegal would say that's too far. In the Central Africa, you have at least the illusion that it's not that far. And so that's for the 5 years. For the 10th, oh my God. For the 10th, my big dream is that all of the festivals that we've created will collaborate, that we will be a power structure, an octopus power structure that functions, that creative works from the east can be consumed in the west, in the north, in the south, the center. In the next 10 years, I want it to be fluid, And I told most of my partners that in Central Africa, we are used to dictatorship, we are used to it. But I hope, and I would like not to become a dictator. It's not because I am at the origin of many projects that in the next 10, 15 or 20 years that I still want to be the head locomotive, the train of those projects. I really want to see how some of the projects I can just enjoy, maybe have an eternal chair as a chair, whatever, the table, to talk and see
what's going on,
just to still be connected, but not carry as the project holder the full load of it in the 10 years. No.
Okay, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.